on the dusty plains of Plataea. Date, August 27th, 479 BCE. The sun rises over a scene that looks like the end of the Greek world. 100,000 Persian warriors, the elite killing machines of the greatest empire on earth, are screaming for blood. Facing them is a fractured, thirsty and exhausted Greek army that looks like it is about to disintegrate. But by the time the sun sets on this day, the Asopus River will be choked with so many corpses that the water will turn into a sludge of mud and blood. The mightiest empire in history will be broken not by luck, but by a brutality so precise and terrifying that it will haunt the Persian nightmares for centuries. This is the story of how 10,000 Spartans turned grief into a weapon. 10 years earlier, their king Leonidas and 300 brothers died at Thermopylae, their bodies desecrated, their heads put on spikes. Today, the Spartans aren't here to die gloriously. They are here to kill. They are here to exact a price in flesh for every drop of Spartan blood spilled a decade ago. But to get their revenge, they have to survive a tactical disaster that leaves them isolated, surrounded, and facing a storm of arrows that blocks out the sun. How did a disorganized retreat turn into the perfect trap? Why did the Persian commander Mardonius make the one fatal mistake that no general should ever make? And what does it sound like when a wall of bronze shields smashes into human bodies at full sprinting speed? Get ready to witness the most violent day in ancient history. The ghosts of Thermopylae are watching, and they are hungry. To understand the slaughter that is about to happen, you have to look at the chessboard. On one side, you have Mardonius, the cousin of King Xerxes. He commands an army of 100,000 men, Persian immortals, Indian archers, Egyptian spearmen, and traitorous Greeks. His camp is a city of gold and silk overflowing with the wealth of a continent. He is arrogant, confident, and desperate to finish what his cousin started. He sees the Greeks not as warriors but as squabbling children ready to be crushed. Opposing him is Pausanias, the regent of Sparta. He is not a king, but he carries the weight of a crown. He leads the largest Greek army ever assembled, 40,000 hoplites from 24 city-states who hate each other almost as much as they hate the Persians. But today, hate is a luxury they cannot afford. Athens is a pile of ash. The temples of the gods are rubble. If they lose here, Greek culture, democracy, philosophy, art will be erased from history. The two armies stare at each other for 11 days across the river. It is a standoff of nerves, but Mardonius gets tired of waiting. He poisons the Greek water supply, forcing Pausanias to order a desperate night retreat to fresh water. But moving 40,000 men in the dark is a recipe for chaos. The Greek center gets lost. The Athenians are separated, and the Spartans? They get stuck in an argument with a stubborn captain who refuses to retreat because Spartans don't run. Dawn breaks and Mardonius sees what he thinks is a miracle. The Greeks are scattered. He orders the attack. The sound of 20,000 Persian cavalry thundering across the plain is like an earthquake. Mardonius sends his mounted archers first. They sweep in like a swarm of angry hornets, darkening the sky with arrows. The Spartans are caught in the open. They are isolated on a ridge, cut off from their allies. The smart move would be to charge or run. The Spartans do neither. They stand still. They lock their shields, ground their spears, and wait. This is the most terrifying display of discipline in military history. Thousands of arrows rain down on them. Men are falling, arrows punching through bronze and flesh. Blood is soaking into the dust, but the formation does not break. Pausanias is standing in the middle of this storm, holding the entrails of a sacrificial goat, looking for a sign from the gods. He will not order the attack until the omens are right. It is a suicide pact with discipline. Imagine being a Spartan soldier in that line. You can hear the screams of your dying friends. You can feel the thud of arrows hitting your shield. Your muscles are screaming to fight back, but you don't move a muscle. You trust your commander more than you trust your survival instinct. Mardonius watches this and laughs. He thinks they are paralyzed with fear. He doesn't realize he is looking at a coiled spring that is being compressed to its breaking point. Finally, the omens turn favorable. Pausanias drops the goat and screams the order, "Charge!" In an instant, the statue-like formation explodes into violence. 11,500 Spartans and Tegeans lower their spears and sprint forward. It is not a run, it is a bronze avalanche. The Persian infantry, who were advancing confidently against a passive enemy, suddenly face a wall of metal moving at them with the force of a freight train. The collision is sickening. The Persian wicker shields shatter like glass against the heavy bronze hoplons. The Greek spears, 12 feet long and tipped with iron, punch through armor, flesh and bone. The front ranks of the Persian army are instantly vaporized, turned into a red mist. The Spartans don't stop to duel, they push. It is a mechanical slaughter, a meat grinder made of men. The Persians are fighting bravely, grabbing the Greek spears with their bare hands, trying to break them, but courage cannot stop physics. Mardonius sees his infantry crumbling and makes a decision that seals his fate. He mounts his white horse, gathers his elite 1,000 immortals, and charges directly into the Spartan line. He wants to kill Pausanias personally. He wants to cut the head off the snake. It is a moment of pure cinematic hubris. The battle around the Temple of Demeter becomes a mosh pit of death. The heat is suffocating, 40 degrees Celsius in the shade, and these men are fighting in full armor. The dust is so thick you can taste it. Mardonius fights like a demon, killing Spartans left and right, but he is fighting the wrong enemy. The Spartans have memorized his face. They know exactly who the man in the purple cloak is, and they are all trying to kill him. A Spartan soldier named Arimnestus picks up a heavy stone, or perhaps he throws a spear, the legends vary, but the result is the same. The projectile smashes into Mardonius's head, crushing his skull inside his golden helmet. The Persian commander drops dead in the dirt. The brain of the Persian army is gone. When the immortals see their leader fall, their morale shatters like cheap pottery. They panic, and in ancient warfare, panic is a death sentence. They turn to run, but there is nowhere to go. The Spartans are pushing forward, stepping over piles of corpses. To the left, the Athenians have smashed the Persian allies. The pincer is closing. The retreat turns into a rout. The rout turns into a massacre. The Persians flee back to their fortified camp, a wooden stockade they built for safety. 40,000 terrifying warriors are now 40,000 terrified refugees trapped in a wooden box. The Greeks arrive, not to lay siege, but to finish the job. The Athenians, experts in wall fighting, breach the defenses. What happens next is not war, it is extermination. The Greeks pour into the camp like a flood. There is no mercy. No quarter is given. The pent-up rage of burning cities, destroyed temples, and 10 years of fear is unleashed on the trapped Persians. The killing is industrial. Men are butchered in their tents. The ground becomes a swamp of gore. Of the 300,000 men Mardonius supposedly brought to Greece, historians say closer to 100,000, barely 3,000 escaped the camp alive. It is a holocaust of the ancient world. 90% of the Persian army is wiped out in a single afternoon. The river Asopus is dammed with bodies. The smell of death will hang over this valley for generations. The aftermath is almost as shocking as the battle. Pausanias walks through the Persian camp and finds Mardonius's tent. It is filled with gold plates, silk carpets, and embroidered couches. He orders his cooks to prepare a traditional Spartan meal, black broth and barley bread. He places it next to the Persian feast. He calls his generals and laughs, pointing at the two meals. Look at the folly of the Persian king who lived like this yet came here to rob us of this. It is the ultimate mic drop. The Greeks divide the spoils: gold, silver, camels, concubines. They dedicate a tenth to the gods, creating a golden tripod at Delphi inscribed with the names of the cities that fought. But the most important trophy isn't gold. It is the realization that the monster is mortal. The Persian Empire, the superpower that terrified the world, has been broken by free men fighting shoulder to shoulder. The Battle of Plataea didn't just save Greece, it created the Western world. If Mardonius had won, Athens would never have been rebuilt. There would be no Parthenon, no Socrates, no Plato, no democracy as we know it. We would be living in a very different timeline. The Bronze Wall of Sparta didn't just protect a country, it protected the future. As we look back at the carnage of Plataea, we have to ask ourselves, was it worth the cost? Tens of thousands of men died in the mud so that an idea could live. The idea that free men, governed by laws they choose, are stronger than slaves driven by the whip of a king. The Spartans paid for that idea with blood. They avenged Thermopylae not just by killing Persians, but by proving that Leonidas was right. Freedom is worth dying for, and sometimes it is worth killing for. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the bloodiest day of ancient Greece, smash that like button and subscribe. We bring you the history that textbooks are too afraid to show. What do you think? Was Pausanias a genius or just lucky? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, remember, civilization is fragile and it is built on a foundation of iron and blood.